So this is something that's just kind of been like on the back of my mind for a little bit now. A while ago, it's been like maybe a week or two ago, my friend was approached by a company that wanted to make like autonomous drone removal something. Okay, basically they were putting a machine gun on a car that would track down drones and then shoot them down. So you could just drive a car through, or maybe it's more like protection. Because drone warfare just is the thing now. Drone warfare just is the thing. After what we've been seeing happening between Ukraine and Russia, the future of war is in drones. The people on the ground, oh my god. I can only imagine how absolutely terrifying is hearing the drones like flying through. The drones have a very significant, distinct sound. The sound of the rotors being on the quadcopters. I can only imagine the insane amounts of PTSD from soldiers who come back from the active war zone where there's drones flying around. It's gotta be absolutely horribly scary. But anyways, this company was coming up with a mix of hardware and software where you can just plant down a turret that is specifically trained for shooting down drones did I say drones? I'm gonna say drones. It's specifically designed for shooting down drones as cheaply and as effectively as possible. And I was just thinking for a second, right? Because I saw one of these companies, it's not just one, there are many of them, who was doing something similar. And I was just thinking like, you know, all of the components that they're putting into this are something that hypothetically any person could do as well. It wouldn't be legal by the end of it, but any person can build one of these. This is kind of like an irrational fear that's kind of been stemming in my mind. I mean, I'm not really that scared of it, but it's just like a hypothetical that's been in my mind. Like someone could just make this and like, instead of driving a car through a parade, they could drive a car with this mounted on it also through a parade. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. Let me just show you some of the videos. So here's this is a company, one of the companies, Syndradel. This is the first one that I came across. Just look at some of these videos. Oh, ew, these are vertical videos, but they open horizontally? No, we're not doing that. Like that is scary. That is scary. I don't want to see that ever. I don't want to see that ever. And the fun part about it, and I shouldn't have just closed that file. Hold on, I had to open it up in VLC because the thingy was stupid. Okay, let me just like look at this gun for a second. I'm not a gun person. I don't know a lot about guns, but there's one gun that's very often brought up in the media. Okay, and I'm just looking at this, right? I'm just looking at this. And this looks very similar. That was the wrong tab. This looks very similar to a gun that may or may not be really prevalent in the media. And if we just like pull these up side by side, just like look at the muzzle for me for a second. Oh, we gotta shrink that down all the way. Just, I don't know. These look very similar. Now, granted, they have a different pattern on the tip, and I think the whatever these holes are a different pattern. I don't know if any of that's like I know nothing about guns. Okay, I don't know if that's any like standard or anything, but what I do know, okay, is that nothing about guns. I know if you pull the trigger on the gun, it will shoot, okay? And not all guns, but on this one, if you pull the trigger, it will shoot, okay? Now let's think about this hypothetical for a second. Let's go back over to the video and zoom or scroll over to, okay, this piece right here, all right? All we really need is a gun, a servo to go back and forth and pull on the trigger, something to, or some kind of like recognition. Of course, there you could see they've got the little, that's the camera, right? The little camera right there. I'm sorry, I should have pointed around here. I can't see that part of my screen for reasons, okay? But the camera's there, the camera's in. All right, the camera to detect what it needs to shoot at, a servo to pull the trigger, and then something to move back and forth and up and down. That is like all we need. That is all we need. It really doesn't matter what gun you're using. Any gun, I mean, shoot, even like a gun that you'd have to cock before you shoot, or like any other motion that you'd need to shoot it, you can figure that out, right? And I'm just thinking, like, you know, I feel like there's probably a lot easier ways to do a ton of damage, but this one's just scary. This was just scary for other reasons. Like, I could go to, if I really wanted to like do a ton of damage, I'm willing to bet that there is a chance, right? Let's just think like super evil. If I just wanted to be one of the most evil people alive, I could probably sneak into like a school and put poison in the school lunches that are going to be served tomorrow, or like an elderly care home and put poison in the food that's going to be served tomorrow, or like a restaurant and put poison in the food that's going to be served tomorrow. I don't know how easy or hard it'd be to get away with something that would just make people die. I don't know. Let me actually look. Let me see if I can find. Should I be Googling this? Should I be Googling this? I was about to Google the poison that would be least traceable and least detected and the easiest to use and put into food that would be consumed without anyone knowing. Actually, I'm not going to do that Google search and just assume and hope to God that it is regulated to the point where I can't just put like, I'm just going to go ahead and hope and assume that I can't buy ricin, right? And then fill the school lunches with it. I'm just going to hope to God that our society doesn't let that happen. I feel like that'd be a significantly more easier, plausible thing to do a lot more damage. But this one just looks menacing and scary, or maybe like a bomb or something. If I had like a bunch of bombs and they'd do, I don't know. But if I were to just take this and drive it through a parade, that just sounds so scary. If I made something like this, I could. Every part in this is legal to buy and will not raise suspicion. They're illegal to buy. They're not legal to assemble. Once you put them together, you have created something that is illegal to own. But I don't care. I'm going to jail for the rest of my life. I'm saying this is hypothetical. I care. I won't be doing this, but someone who is going to do this and go to the jail for the rest of their life would care. Wouldn't care. Said that wrong. I feel like it really is just a matter of time till we see the next like Unabomber or Killdozer using some of this new technology that we've come up with, like maybe using AI in some way, using facial recognition in some way to do something like this. I really feel like it's a matter of time. Because we, as time goes by, we really are as a society just being squeezed more and more by a certain group of people. Not that something like this would really be targeting that certain group of people. Of course, like if we look back at the Killdozer was like specially, well, I mean, now that I think about it, these do usually end up targeting certain individuals. Imagine if there was a car, right, with like blacked out windows or something, but it still had cameras on it or whatever, and there is a gun trained in that car to facial recognition a specific person, right? And this, whoever owned it was just always driving the car around to find that specific person. I can imagine that might be the next Unabomber or the next like Killdozer situation. It'd have to take someone really smart to pull it off. It'd have to take someone really smart to pull it off, and a whole lot of data and training and a lot of work. So it probably, of course, this is another, like, there's a lot easier ways to do it. There is a lot easier ways to do it, but I'm just thinking of the possibilities. This is spooky. Anyways, that's all. This really is just an irrational fear. Like, cars in general, like if you get a group of like 3 or 4 or 5 people with a car each, you could very easily do the same amount of damage as this could, if not more. I don't see the driver being able to do very much damage and get away with it, but like if this turret replaced on the top of the car, or maybe it was paired with a self-driving car. Wait. If you had, because I know Tesla right now are able to like do taxi stuff. I think the only way you'd be able to stop the car is by shooting the tires out. If you had a full self-driving car with one of these turrets placed on top of it, I don't know what would stop it. And I'm not going to think too much about it because I'm just going to end this video here. Irrational thoughts. This is what I'm thinking about. Now you get to think about it too. I didn't even bring up the other company that's doing this. I had 2 companies pull up. This is another company who's doing something similar. They have the gun strapped to the back of a truck, and it does like the same thing. This, on the other hand, though, this gun right here is not a consumer grade gun. You can't just buy this as an individual, but that still doesn't matter because the technology that you need to make a gun work the way that you need it to work in this scenario, it's all consumer grade. You can just buy and use all of it. So it's not like that really matters, but it's just like, hey, think about it. Okay, that's all. I just wanted to rant and talk about this. Thank you. Bye.